I am Matt Watson, your host. This special edition of Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers is being brought to you by KHTS in collaboration with SCVi and iLEAD Charter Schools. Well, since mid-March, we've been coming to you every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 a.m., providing support and updates for you on your distance learning journey. And you're thinking, Matt, distance learning is over. We don't need you anymore. Well, first of all, don't hurt my feelings that way. And second of all, you need me more than you think. Because first of all, we're heading into the summertime, and you want to avoid that summer slump. You want to make sure that your kids stay on top of things, keep learning, keep growing. And so you're going to want to catch our updates, because we've actually got quite a few of them that concern our schools. Lots of decisions being made, both at your local school district and your schools, as well as at the state level and national level. We're going to be talking about a lot of those today. But your kids are also going to want to, you're going to want to head over to homeschoolingAnswers.com. That's the website we launched when we went distance learning. There we've got a bunch of resources to help your kids keep moving, keep that saw sharp, keep them learning and growing. There's a lot of parent tips on there as well. You can find curriculum curated by grade level, by subject area, some really cool projects, neat engaging videos. So if you haven't already done so, check out homeschoolingAnswers.com. I think you're going to find pretty much everything you need there. And well, as we're looking to get back on campus, it looks like we are definitely going to be able to do that coming fall semester. There's going to be some buts with it, though. We're going to go into detail in hour number 2 today. We have also got some interesting information and some terrific advice for you coming up in hour number 1. But before we get started, I wanted to give a special shout out to those of you that are graduating. You're lining up at Central Park right now. Learning Post, congratulations. It took a while, but you got there. And you're graduating today. AOC is going to be graduating a little bit later on today, and we'll try to remember to give them a shout out when they start lining up. But congratulations, graduates. You made it. Congratulations. And, we are sorry. I say this from the bottom of my heart. It is not fair that you have to graduate this year. But nonetheless, you are graduating. It's a huge accomplishment, and you guys are going to be stronger for it. The grit and perseverance that you guys have developed this year due to everything that you've been through is going to serve you well. You've accomplished a great thing, and you deserve to be congratulated. Good job. Go, and please, 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 please help us. Go make this world a better place. We need you. We know the amazing caliber of young people that are graduating today, and we need you out there. So bless you all. Congratulations, Learning Post. We're proud of you. We got a great show today. We've got Dr. Bud Lawrence from Henry Mayo Hospital on the line. We're going to be joining him in just a minute. We're going to sort through some of those current statistics, and we're also going to maybe try to press him a little bit to see if we can sort through some of the conflicting reports we're hearing. Mask healthy, mask not healthy. We're going to try to get his expert opinion, see what he has to say. We'll also have our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist, Christina DeBray, in her new time slot at the bottom of this first hour. And then, like I said, in hour number 2, we're actually going to have producer Sarah call in, and she's going to be joining me. And again, we're going to sort through some of that information that Renee Marshall shared with us yesterday. That information, she went through a 55-page, very pithy document. If you're used to seeing documents coming out of, any part of the state bureaucracy, but especially the State Department of Education, you know that there can be a lot of information in just a few pages. Well, they issued a 55-page document with recommendations on how schools can open up, and Renee, in about 42 minutes yesterday, took us through all of it. So it came fast and furious, and there were a lot more questions than we got answers, which actually our superintendent, Tony Thurman, mentioned himself, that he had more questions than he had answers. But there was a lot of good information that she shared. If you were here yesterday, you're going to want to stick around so that we can help you try to make sense of it all, and so that we can kind of calmly go through some of that information. If you weren't here yesterday, you're definitely going to want to stick around, because we need to talk about what school's going to look like and what you can do to best support your children. But let's go ahead and get into our first guest. We're super excited that he's here. Dr. Bud Lawrence is the Director of Emergency Services at Henry Mayo Newhall Memorial Hospital. He is a graduate of UCLA and attended Keck USC School of Medicine. He began his career at Henry Mayo in 2003 as an attending emergency medicine physician. Dr. Lawrence is very involved in many emergency department quality-related projects early on and was quickly appointed as the Emergency Department Director of Risk Management. Currently the director, as I said, of the Emergency Department, Dr. Lawrence is also the owner of the Henry Mayo Urgent Care Center. Dr. Lawrence, welcome to the show.
Hey, well, thank you so much, Matt. Thank you for the great introduction. I appreciate it.
Of course. We're so glad that you're here. I know our families have got a ton of questions. We're going to try to sort through a couple of the top level ones, but before we get started, everybody's wondering the same thing. So let's just project forward a little bit. It's late November, and let's suppose that we're allowed to put fans back in the stands again, and we've got tickets for that USC-UCLA football game. Are you wearing blue or red to the big game?
Blue, all the way. Big-time Bruin fan.
There we go. Go Bruins. We can continue forth with the interview then. That's great news. All right. So I was looking at some of the information that Henry Mayo's got, and I realized for the first time Henry Mayo is a level 2 trauma center. So can you tell us what that means?
Yeah, so we are a level 2 trauma center, which means that we're accredited as a trauma center to take care of trauma patients. There's level 1, 2, and 3 designations that you can achieve. Usually level 1 trauma centers are mostly tertiary care centers, places where you have a residency to meet certain staffing requirements for level 1 and volume requirements for level 1 as well. But the bottom line is, as a level 2 trauma center, we can take care of just about anything. And even though we are the only hospital in town, if there was another hospital that wasn't a trauma center, for example, any significant trauma or patient that met trauma center criteria would be diverted to our hospital because we're able to provide that very high level of care for all of our trauma patients. We have actually a trauma surgeon in-house 24 hours a day. They're here on the hospital campus all day, all night, just to serve our community.
Wow, that is really reassuring to know. That's great news. So, like I said, coming in, we're really excited to have you on. I was reading an article back in mid-March, actually kind of the Ides of March, I believe it was, when you were interviewed, where you were talking about the coronavirus and how we can try to flatten the curve, and that's what we were all talking about back in March. We got to flatten this curve. We got to stay home for a little bit. And I was looking at some of the things that you had said, and it was interesting. It was almost like you were reading from mid-May backwards, not mid-March forward. You were just spot on, and that's one of the reasons we're really excited about having you this morning. That having been said, some of the questions that I'm going to ask you today will ask for your speculation, and I know that you're a great doctor, but not a soothsayer. So we're just looking for your thoughts on things, okay?
Absolutely.
Alrighty, so that having been said, the last couple of months have certainly been interesting in your profession and worldwide. So what have you and the rest of the team at Henry Mayo been seeing these last few months?
So clearly these last few months we've been seeing COVID coming in, COVID-19, which is a coronavirus infection. And so much like many places across the country, the difference, I would say, between us and New York is New York got absolutely pummeled by very sick, copious amounts of COVID-19 patients, and we did not. And there are a lot of questions about why that might have happened and why we were, the West Coast for the most part is somewhat spared, although there are some hot spots. And I think a lot of that has to do with things like population density, overall wellness in the community. We've talked about this in the past, or at least I have, that New York has such a very vastly different population density than we do here locally. And I think that globally has been able to spare us from really heavy inundation of COVID-19 patients, which really helps us with our overall care of the patients. You talked about the flattening of the curve. I think everybody now knows that term. The whole goal of that was so that the healthcare system wouldn't be overwhelmed and overrun with all patients getting sick at the same time, essentially.
Right.
And our community has been so outstanding. In that moment of truth, our community came together, they stayed home, and they did the right thing, and that has made all the difference thus far. And we have been able to really provide at Henry Mayo individualized, curated care to all of our very sick COVID patients, which, we've been able to discharge from our hospital 91 patients with COVID-19. And we've had 12 patients that have deceased, but globally, if you look at mortality data, we are performing excellently well here at Henry Mayo, and a lot of that has to do with our community members staying home, allowing our hospital to really focus on those sick patients, get as many as we can better and get them home. And I would say that our hospital has performed top of the heap nationally in terms of both preparedness and patient outcomes. Really, really proud to be part of Henry Mayo Newhall Hospital in this time of crisis, where we were really able to stand up and do what we're meant to do.
That is great news to hear. So currently we're doing okay, plenty of beds. Are you guys also able to treat the daily emergencies and things like that are coming in?
That is such a great question, Matt. So one of the great things about staying at home was it was able to allow the healthcare system to survive through this crisis time. But what we were seeing nationally from an emergency medicine standpoint is up to around 40% of heart attacks and strokes were not coming to our emergency department. So we saw a 40% drop in those populations. And that doesn't mean people were having 40% less strokes and heart attacks. They just weren't showing up. Wow. And we started recognizing this about a month ago. And we started realizing, my goodness, we've told these people to please do their part and stay home. And they have, which has been critical. But now we're starting to see the negative side of that, which is we have so many cool tools and interventions we can do for people with illness, even if, appendicitis, stroke, heart attack, anything, but it's all really time sensitive. So if you don't come in the right time window, our ability to help diminishes very rapidly, and that's kind of what we're seeing nationally. So now you're going to see this on the news, you'll see this locally, and I was just in Arcadia or Monrovia yesterday, and I saw signs as well. There's a big push now to tell patients, hey, listen, if you would have gone to an emergency department before for something that was concerning to you, you should be going now so that we can make sure we take care of you. Here at Henry Mayo, we're rolling out a big campaign called Safe in Our Care, which just reiterates to patients that, hey, we are providing, we have taken all the recommended necessary precautions to make sure that if you come to this hospital or one of our outpatient areas, that you are going to be as safe as you can possibly be, and we are going to take good care of you to maintain your health. And this means the emergency department, but this also means our outpatient areas, our breast center, our outpatient surgical areas. We really have to get the word out, which is why I really appreciate you having me on. We have to get the word out to patients that, hey, things like mammograms and pap smears and colonoscopies and seeing your dermatologist to check your skin. Skin cancer isn't taking a nap during COVID. It's still out there, and we still have to look for these things, and we don't want to delay preventative care that can otherwise save lives.
So you guys are basically back to your normal schedule then?
We are ramping up. We're almost back to our normal schedule. Okay. We are ramping up our outpatient surgical procedures. I think we're up to a little over 200 procedures a month. Our baseline pre-COVID is around 300, and we're planning to open up full-time to get to that 300 number. So yes, essentially, we are full steam ahead.
Gosh, I couldn't imagine having a heart attack and thinking, you know what, I'll get to it in a couple of weeks. Yeah, if you're having an emergency or you need medical care, get out there. We do need to take a quick break, Dr. Lawrence, but are you able to stick around? We want to talk to you about potential second spike, as well as how we're going to keep our kids healthy when they go back to school.
Absolutely. I'll be here for you.
Fantastic. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Bud Lawrence. He's the Director of Emergency Services at Henry Mayo, our local hospital. We will be right back. You're listening to SCVi Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
If you'd like to take your business up a notch, take a look at iLEAD magazine.
Linda and Mo Hafizi, owners of our Valley's two leading magazines, the Magazine of Santa Clarita and iLEAD.
I'm so proud of iLEAD. It allows your advertisement to stand out. We distribute iLEAD to 50,000 homes and businesses. You'll find us in 1,900 local hotel rooms.
Discover how iLEAD magazine can help your business. Call 4444.
Superior quality is second nature to us. Just ask our advertisers.
If you're in danger of losing your home to foreclosure, you need an expert. Hi, I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty. I've helped hundreds of Santa Clarita residents save their homes completely for free. I've got just over 20 years experience and a loan modification success rate of over 80%. I can negotiate better terms with your bank, and I can save your home from foreclosure. And again, we do this completely for free. So if you're in any danger, please call me today at 661-714-1400. That number again is 661-714-1400. I'm Rich Sherman with Alta Realty, and I'll be happy to help you save your home for free.
CBC Cleaning and Restoration is ready and waiting to clean and disinfect your home or business during these trying times. CBC is certified, OSHA trained, and insured for COVID-19. They are now offering 10% off services plus free disinfection application through June 30th. All staff wears full-on PPE, and all equipment is disinfected before and after every job. Have CBC clean your carpets, upholstery, and hard surface flooring. Voted best commercial and residential cleaning company in the Santa Clarita Valley year after year. To take advantage of the COVID-19 special or more information, call CBC at 294-2221. That's 294-2221.
Yes, Dunkin' is open. The continued stay-at-home orders have been rough on all of us, but Dunkin' is trying to make things just a little bit better. There are many ways to get your Dunkin' fix. You can carry out at both locations, or you can drive through at Canyon Country, or get curbside service at the Bouquet Canyon Dunkin'. Both offer Grubhub and Postmates delivery and are open till 6 p.m. Don't forget, use your Dunkin' app for on the go to order, pay, and accumulate points. Dunkin' cares about the SCV.
The minute I open my door,
Debbie Morris has a problem.
I say, oh my gosh.
A really big problem.
The dog, the cat, my 3-year-old.
Debbie's house is a mess.
How can one family create this disaster?
Debbie needs Made for You.
I need help.
Professional residential and commercial cleaning, locally owned. You choose the schedule, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or even one-time seasonal cleaning. Call 255-2922. That's 255-2922. Made for You.
Made for You rescued me.
I listen to it all day, every day.
Hometown, your hometown station. Beep, beep,
beep, beep. Go! All day, every day, we are here for you. My name is Shane Cutchell, here at KHTS, giving you some breaking news updates, continuing to do traffic and news as we do here at KHTS. Earlier this morning around 8 a.m., there was a butane hash oil lab that prompted a response in Canyon Country. Now, this was on Kelly Court, just down the street from COC's Canyon Country campus. No traffic delays showing in the area, but be advised that incident took place this morning. Check out hometownstation.com. We have a story posted, and we will continue to update it throughout the day. We also have a Facebook Live video previously recorded on our Facebook at KHTS Radio. So check out those stories there for more information. And taking a look at your traffic, fortunately, no incidents to report from CHP and nothing really going on the highways. A whole lot of green, a whole lot of easy driving, so get out there and do what you got to do. Just a little bit of touch and go traffic right where the 5 and the 14 split away and merge into each other in both directions, but I'm pretty sure that traffic is always there. Let's take a look at weather.
Traffic brought to you by Frontier Toyota. Frontier Toyota reminds you to drive safely. Shop from home at frontiertoyota.com or visit their showroom on Valencia and Creekside. See their all-new, hot and exciting 2020 Toyota Camry. Frontier Toyota, the Camry Kings.
And what else doesn't change in Santa Clarita during the summer? The heat, that's right. Highs are going to be 95 across the valley, lows in the low 60s, right around 62 degrees. Currently 76 degrees in Newhall, 75 degrees in Valencia, and 78 degrees in Canyon Country. Now let's get back to the On the Valley Show with Matt Watson.
Hometown, your hometown station.
That was DJ Shane Cutchell on the ones and twos. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I am Matt Watson, and this morning we're being joined by the Director of Emergency Services at Henry Mayo Newhall Memorial Hospital, Dr. Bud Lawrence. Dr. Lawrence, we really appreciate you sticking around with us today. Wanted to ask you, people have been it's funny, almost cynically warning about it, but it's something that I think quietly a lot of us are a little concerned about. About 3 weeks ago, we had some demonstrations in our city pushing to reopen the economy, and, well, the governor and the county responded, and a few days later, we moved into phase 3, and more businesses and services and recreation locations opened back up. The beaches are open, restaurant dining rooms are now open, and shortly after that, we started seeing what is continuing in our city and a lot of cities around the country. About 2 weeks or more of social protests where lots of folks are together out on the streets, in parks and near City Hall, things like that. Given all this, should we expect a spike in COVID infections?
It is a great question because I think there's a lot that we are still trying to understand about transmission of the virus, although we're pretty confident it's a person-to-person transmission. So you would say to yourself that if there are more people out there interacting with each other, perhaps without masks on, that some of those people might have COVID-19 and would potentially pass it on to others. And we've seen evidence of that in the past prior to using masks, things like spring break and other Mardi Gras, for example. With Mardi, you looked at the early data from Louisiana, they were hit very hard, and I personally believe a lot of that has to do with Mardi Gras. Okay. So I think that, yes, there will probably be a relative increased number of cases, although I do have to say I think many people, at least when I saw many people protesting, they were wearing masks. And so it really comes down to how many people truly have the illness that are out there. You'd hope that if somebody was not feeling well, they wouldn't have gone to a protest. But some patients are asymptomatic. So, I think time is going to tell. I was really looking forward to see what happened with Georgia because Georgia kind of reopened early, and I was really paying close attention to their data. But then it turned out that their data kind of might not have been as accurate as it could have been. So that was fairly disappointing. But I think that so far we haven't had. You brought up the agitation about 2-3 weeks ago about reopening. We things have been more lax, but I have to say I think when I go around town, most everybody happens to be wearing a mask, and I think that's sort of doing its part to keep things at bay.
That's good to hear. So we haven't seen any significant spike in our valley yet, huh?
No, I mean, it's very interesting. Really, the majority of our cases of COVID-19 in our valley seem to be from our local Pitchess Detention Center, which, that's not unexpected. You have a dormitory-style setting where people are in close contact by definition, and so that doesn't surprise me at all. I don't know. That's very challenging to not let that happen, and so I feel that currently we are not seeing increasing numbers coming through our emergency department. Actually, Henry Mayo runs the COC testing center for the LA County for COVID testing. That will be open until the 13th. It's actually going to be closing on the 13th. But our data that we're getting from that center shows that if they test about 200 to 300 patients a day, for every 200 patients, I'm seeing about 10 positives. So that's about a 5% positivity rate. That's nothing crazy by any means, and it's sort of to be expected during this flattening of the curve. People are still going to be getting the virus. I see no significant spike currently. As you say, I cannot predict the future, so we don't know what's going to happen in the next days after these most recent protests, but we will just have to see.
Okay, and now there are some states that are experiencing a spike. Texas, Arizona, Utah, other states around the country. Do you think that these are predictors of things to come? Is there anything that we can learn from them?
I think that the reality is that as you open things up and people are no longer hunkered down in their homes, you are going to see an increase in number, and that's also going along with the fact that yes, we're seeing increased numbers, but there is now significantly increased availability to testing. So, and it is an important part. If you watch the news is going to say, oh my gosh, all these new cases, the world is ending. but really, you have to mute that a little bit because there's now significantly increased access to testing. So many of these patients probably prior to increase, I mean, when this first started, to be honest, Matt, we had very little access to testing. So most patients, we just told them, listen, go home, drink water. Overwhelming majority of patients who get COVID-19 have a very mild course of illness. Come back if you get worse. And they were not tested, and we don't have numbers for how many of those patients were positive. But now that we have testing galore, we're going to see more numbers because we're actually checking. We're looking under the rug, and we're finding more cases. And that's again, completely, totally to be expected. That's nothing to be concerned about in my book.
Okay, so we would expect numbers to go up, but probably positive test percentages to go down, right?
Well, you would say yes. That's correct, because you're actually testing more people. You're going to find more negatives as well. So right. You probably your overall testing numbers, positive numbers, would go down. Just for reference, at Henry Mayo, when we weren't having a lot of tests, the county was seeing about a 5 to 8% positivity rate, and we were seeing around 16 to 18, and that's because we're really only testing high-risk patients. So it's exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, that is really interesting. Now let's talk about school. We are an education-based show, as I mentioned. On Monday, our state superintendent of public schools, along with the State Department of Public Health, issued guidelines under which school campuses can start to reopen, whether it's as early as the summer session or, in most cases, in the fall. Producer Sarah and I are going to be talking about that next hour in detail. I'm not sure if you've looked into what the guidelines for opening schools are, but how do you feel about schools reopening in the fall and kids going back to school?
So, such a loaded question, really, right? But, which I don't know that there's a right answer. But I will say, I think school provides such an important part of our child's lives with not only the education piece but the social piece, and I feel like it will be a very big challenge to open a school full time because of all the concerns around COVID. I think you're going to have, to me, when I look at it, some of the challenges are, I think you're going to have a lot of parents that feel that they don't want their kids back in school. I think you'll have a lot of parents that do want their kids back in school full time because, frankly, they may have two working parents, and that's an element of childcare for them, and plus some parents may feel comfortable with their children being back at school. But the reality is that in order for that to work, schools would have to have social distancing measures, certain cleanliness protocols that would need to be in place, and it may be a challenge for some teachers who have. It would be a challenge if you were a teacher and you had multiple medical problems or your immune system wasn't what it should be. Maybe you're immunocompromised for some reason. That would be. You don't want to have someone put in that position where they could potentially get the illness. Now, we know with COVID-19, it tends to not affect our pediatric population, our children, quite the same as it does adults. Most children have a very mild course of illness. Very rarely do they get sick. Very, very rarely do they require hospitalization. We are seeing kind of a very interesting Kawasaki syndrome type illness that has been occurring that we feel is related to COVID-19. But again, this is very, very rare. I think there's been just probably less than 10 of those cases in all of Los Angeles County. So very rare, generally felt to be safe for the children if they get COVID-19. However, what if they brought that back to a family member that might be elderly or have medical problems? That's kind of where the question comes in, and that's where it becomes very sticky. So I think that there probably are ways for certain schools to open full time if they have the physical plant space to do it, they have the teaching staff to do it, and they have the strategies to do it. But it is a monumental task to do that properly. And we have a lot of smart people in our school districts throughout this state that are working very hard to do the absolute best job they can. But I think this is going to be one of those things where not everyone will be happy regardless of what we do. I think that if you open it up full time, there are going to be people who aren't happy. If you open it up part time, there are going to be people who aren't happy. So it's going to be a very challenging time.
Yeah, it is. And I think for that reason, schools and school districts are going to provide multiple options so that families can get what they need. One of the guidelines that the state superintendent has issued, and everyone was expecting it, was that students and teachers are going to need to wear masks. And, some people are starting to express some concern. Some parents are concerned about their children wearing masks all day. You're certainly in a setting where most people are wearing masks all day. Is this something that parents should be concerned about?
Not at all. I mean, you know, we in the healthcare setting, we wear masks literally 12 hours straight. If you're lucky, that's a surgical mask, which is a little tough to breathe through. If you're in a hot spot area of the hospital, like the emergency department, for example, many of us are wearing N95 masks, which if anyone's had the lovely experience of wearing one of those, it's like breathing through a very tiny snorkel all day. Yep. So really nothing to be concerned about from a health perspective wearing a mask. I think that it's one of these things that I think it's important for people to understand. The real reason why there may be some benefit to, this is not this mask yes or no is such a hotly debated political thing. I approach this is apolitical commentary here. Just the bottom line is that the reason why it is potentially helpful for people to wear masks is that if you're asymptomatic, if you don't have symptoms, or you're early on in the course of illness, the mask is really going to keep you from getting other people infected. Yes, it does help maybe keep you from getting infected from other people, but the real point would be to keep you from getting other people sick. So when I talk about people wearing masks, I would say it's similar to, you know, would you take your trash bag out to the trash and just throw it in the middle of the street and just let it sit there? It's just a matter of being cool to your community members, being nice and doing the right thing. That's kind of my standpoint. So I think kids wearing masks in school, if that's the way it goes, I don't see anything. I don't think that wouldn't be a deal breaker in my book.
Alrighty, so just something that we're gonna have to get used to and get comfortable with, and maybe you and I will start printing T-shirts that say "Dude, be cool, wear your mask."
That's right. I mean, it is literally a "Dude, be cool" moment, because it's you doing something to help your community. That's how I look at it.
All right, and speaking about being cool, I want to give you a couple of minutes to brag a little bit, because I understand your kids have done something that was really, really cool. Dr. Lawrence, can you tell us a little bit about the Keep the Pressure kits?
Oh yeah, I wasn't expecting that, but yeah, it's a great thing. My daughters, I have two high school age daughters out here. We live locally in Santa Clarita, and they wanted, as they transitioned into the public schools, they went to Legacy prior to going to Valencia High School, which is where they are now. They really wanted to do something impactful and to make the school environment safe, and they created a nonprofit called Keep the Pressure, where they provided bleed kits to every classroom in every public junior high school and high school in the Hart District. And then beyond that, they have been selling these kits. Like I say, they use the word selling loosely. They basically sell the kits at their cost. They are not in it to make any money, obviously, to other schools and businesses, and they're looking to get them into places of worship, anywhere where school shootings or other violence or other emergencies could occur. And their work has been, I'm so proud of them. Their work has been tremendous, and in fact, those kits were used in the Saugus incident that we all endured in November. And that really drives the point home that it's something that we have always said, not in our town, that could never, nothing like this could ever happen here. And I think everyone says that about their town for the most part, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people. And it just goes to show you, it's preparedness is king. If you can be prepared, that's how you can be impactful.
Absolutely, such an amazing thing that your kids did, and like you mentioned, you hope you never have to use it. But I know that one of those kids that was a victim of the Saugus shooting was actually a beneficiary of one of those bleed kits that your daughters had provided, and she was able to move on and make a full recovery. So such a beautifully caring initiative by your kids, and I'm sure you do anyways, but hug them when you get home, let them know that their community is so grateful for them. We're grateful for your time as well. Thank you so much for coming in, sharing your expertise with us. Dr. Lawrence, you be well.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thank you for the good work you're doing, keeping the community informed and being here for all of us. I really appreciate what you are doing, and thank you so much for having me.
Of course. We're going to take another commercial break, but when we come back, we'll be talking to licensed marriage and family therapist Christina DeBray about whether EMDR therapy can help you with your trauma and other issues. Some really cool stuff Christina's doing with her patients. You're listening to SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Hi, it's Rick Garcia from my radio show with Rick Garcia here on KHTS. Man, it seems like it's been forever since we sat down in a restaurant and enjoyed a meal with our family and friends. A lot of our local businesses are working hard, getting ready to reopen, including restaurants. Ultimately, it's up to our local restaurants to come up with safety plans moving forward. But we can help too. Plan on no more than an hour of dining out. If we don't linger, it allows more turnover for the restaurant, which in turn provides more business for them and more tips for servers who are on the front line. In other words, it's a win-win. Together, we can create a new normal for Santa Clarita that's safe and enjoyable.
Hi, I'm Eric Goldhurst, Head of Operations for Burger King North America. Throughout this time, we've taken steps to take care of our guests.
And since we know many of your jobs have been affected by this crisis,
we want to help make sure you're taken care of too.
If you are looking for work, we are hiring.
And there's a spot on our team for you.
We know that we'll get through this together, as long as we keep taking care of each other.
For more information, call 253-3283. That's 253-3283.
Finding the right auto body shop can feel like a never-ending search.
It's more than a job, it's a hobby.
Caesar, owner of Body Shop 661, your one-stop body shop.
Out here in Santa Clarita, I like seeing my cars driving around. It's really a passion.
More than just repairs. Body Shop 661. Trusted, reliable, respected for over 16 years in the Santa Clarita Valley. Visit bodyshop661.com or give them a call, 661-251-2252.
You see so much when you look at your child. A creative spirit that surprises you every day. Curiosity that develops into exploring unique passions. A little leader growing every day to discover who they are, what they love, and how they can make their mark on the world. At SCVi, we see those same amazing things. Our tuition-free K-12 charter school gives your child boundless opportunities to think critically and imagine freely, with a customized learning program built around each individual student. As iLEAD's founding school, SCVi combines an immersive approach to traditional subject learning with extracurricular activities, including STEAM, robotics, theater, music, and sports. SCVi has the only international baccalaureate program in Santa Clarita, with a 10-year proven track record of graduates excelling at top universities. And we're in your backyard, just off the 5 freeway in West Santa Clarita Valley in Castaic. For enrollment information or to learn more about our program, including homeschool options, visit iLeadSantaClarita.org. iLEAD Schools, free to think, inspired to lead.
Chiquita Canyon Landfill takes the waste from our homes and local businesses and puts it to good use. With cutting-edge clean energy technology, Chiquita Canyon powers 10,000 homes each year by harnessing the methane gas from the landfill. So, the next time you wheel your trash can to the curb, feel good that your waste is on its way to making green energy at Chiquita Canyon.
Chiquita Canyon Landfill, our partner in sustainable living.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson. You are listening to Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers, brought to you by SCVi and iLEAD Charter Schools. We are now joined by Christina DeBray. Christina is a licensed marriage and family therapist here in Awesome Town. She's got an amazing story. You really do need to sit down, have a cup of coffee if you can with Christina and talk to her about her story. She was, really given a death sentence when she was 6 weeks old with the cystic fibrosis diagnosis. If you know anything about CF, you know that 30 years ago, it really was a terminal sentence. But through the grit and resilience that she showed, she continued to grow and strengthen, and actually ended up deciding that not only was she not going to allow this to be a death sentence, but she was going to turn the trauma and the grief that she suffered by having to be quarantined most of her childhood and turn it into a way to benefit others. And so she went to Cal State Northridge, then Pepperdine University, and got her degrees. She studied trauma and phobias. She studied attachment disorders, suicide prevention, grief, child and adolescent interventions. And now she's, like I said, she's got her practice right here in Valencia. She's currently seeing patients both in her office face-to-face as well as through telehealth. So whichever model works best for you, she's able to serve your needs. She's got more than 18 years of speaking experience and works with medical professionals, patients, schools, and business professionals as well. Welcome back in. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning.
It is good to have you back. You know, we were talking earlier this week about EMDR therapy, and you mentioned it over the last several weeks multiple times, as oftentimes, well, maybe not oftentimes, but sometimes your standard talk therapy is not what your patients need, and you need to go into EMDR therapy. You mentioned on Monday, I believe it was, that there are, or you mentioned on Tuesday, that there are 8 steps that you follow as a therapist, that you walk your patients through, and you're able to actually really provide some tremendous relief and support to your patients. Does EMDR therapy work for everyone? How do I know if I'm a candidate?
That's a great question. You know, a lot of it is that's why it's important to get an initial evaluation, because there are contraindications to EMDR. So, for example, if you're too unstable, you need to be stabilized first before getting EMDR. And like I said before, EMDR doesn't work for it doesn't eliminate organic mental health problems. So, for example, let's say you have bipolar disorder, and there's a family history of that. It's not going to eliminate that, but it can help manage it. Doesn't mean you don't have to necessarily have medication, but still it can help with when you have organic mental health issues. That tends to coincide with difficult life experiences. And so, as I mentioned before, the core of pathology from the EMDR perspective is memory is the core of health and pathology. So EMDR can help with anything that's related to memory. And so you might think, oh, hey, well, I can't really think of anything in my life that is a bad memory. I mean, sometimes it's obvious, like, hey, the Saga shooting or whatever it is in your life. I have people come in, not uncommonly, who will say, nothing traumatic happened to me in my life. So when we talk about memory and trauma, it's not just about narrative memory. It's not just about, hey, I was at Las Vegas during the shooting. It can be about body memory. So it can be sometimes you see this with medical trauma. Even if you're under anesthesia, you can have body trauma, and that can still, your body can still hold memory for that. Young children, babies, even there can be prenatal trauma. Let's say a pregnant mom was in distress. So the baby can absorb that and experience that emotion, and it can, remember what that's like, and that can be trauma. So this is why talk therapy doesn't always address these pieces, because it just doesn't get deep enough to go there. So with EMDR, we understand that memories have different elements to them. It can have the sensory data. So maybe the color orange causes distress for you, and you don't know why, and maybe you through EMDR reprocessing, you realize, well, because there were so many fires where I lived growing up. I'm giving a very generic example with that. So EMDR can help with addiction, anxiety, ADHD, chronic pain, depression, eating disorders, panic attacks, psychotic symptoms, self-esteem issues. It can even help with some medical problems that can be exacerbated through the stress response. Of course, it was developed to help with trauma and trauma-related disorders.
Okay. Gosh, the topics that you hit, I feel like you probably just hit on about 85% of the people out there. We're all dealing with our issues, whether you've had that acute trauma like a car accident or a shooting like Christina said, or who knows, maybe you've got your own radio show that even your mother won't listen to unless your big brother, of course, mom's favorite one, is on. We're all struggling with different things, and I do joke a little bit, but seriously, we're all struggling with our stuff. It's important to reach out to your healthcare provider and make sure that you get the physical and the mental health care that you need. And Christina said it's important to get that initial consultation. She's providing that 15-minute phone consultation for free. So give her a buzz at 661-513-4857, 661-513-4857. You can head over to ChristinaDebree.com. That's Christina with a K, Debree. We're posting that on our Facebook Live feed now. It is time for us to check local and national news stories, but stick around. When we come back, we're going to be talking about those educational guidelines and what it's going to look like when your kids head back to school. This is Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Lots of people can build websites, but there's one Santa Clarita company that specializes in designing websites for your business, Small Dog Creative. The Small Dog Creative team is made up of local designers who are hands-on. Their talented team of experts build premium websites and redefine branding. Small Dog Creative doesn't just build websites. They'll upgrade your business's online presence and turn your business into a powerful online brand. Small Dog Creative, Santa Clarita's most innovative web and design company. SmallDogCreative.com.
This is Bradley Gross from Santa Clarita Grocery. Santa Clarita Grocery serves fresh groceries to families, individuals, and those experiencing homelessness. At Santa Clarita Grocery, out of every dollar donated, a full 99 cents goes directly to the needs being addressed. As an all-volunteer-led organization, we operate on a 1% overhead, receiving no government funding for our operations in the community, resulting in us being one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. If you're looking to support the good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery. What is donated is specifically kept in the Santa Clarita Valley, helping over 3,000 families, including 5 other community charities. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or visit us on social media or call us at 425-7575. That's 425-7575.
Loss of hearing can affect the quality of life. Santa Clarita Hearing Center can help. They specialize in both preventative hearing loss and corrective measures, including diagnostic tests, new technology hearing aids, cochlear implants, hearing protection, and tinnitus treatment. They can adjust your current hearing aids or fit you for new ones. Santa Clarita Hearing Center also offers sleep molds, swim molds, and musician monitors. Book an appointment today. Log on to SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com. Located on McBean Parkway next to the hospital. That's SantaClaritaHearingCenter.com.
Consumers Furniture is back open for your business. The safety of our community and our staff, above all, is most important to us. We will provide a safe and clean environment for you to find the perfect piece of furniture for your home. To help you with your purchase, we are offering 25% off your entire order or 24 months same as cash financing. And for our awesome essential workers, we will deliver locally your furniture free of charge. Consumers Furniture is located in the Center Point Shopping Center below Sam's Club and Walmart.
KHTS AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 10 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
Is a second wave coming? I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. That's one of the questions apparently rattling Wall Street as coronavirus cases rise again in more than 20 states. The latest snapshot of the Labor Department also raising concern about pandemic recovery.
There were 1.5 million new claims for unemployment benefits last week. The number is significant, but slightly weaker than economists predicted. In recent months, 44 million people have filed for unemployment benefits. The government says as of 2 weeks ago, 20.9 9 million are still receiving those payments. Though the Labor Department reported 2.5 million new jobs created in May, companies are still laying off people in June.
Fox's Ginny Cosola, weekly claims have been declining from their peak, but it's the 12th week of more than 1 million claims. The Dow's been down over 1,300 points, more than 4%. White House Economic Advisor Larry Kudlow says the administration is talking with House and Senate leaders about a pro-growth stimulus plan. Democrats have criticized the Senate for not taking up another $3 trillion coronavirus relief package passed by the House. The president also working on police reform proposals after the death of George Floyd. He'll discuss those issues today in Dallas, a trip Joe Biden is criticizing as a photo op. Meantime, telling Comedy Central's Daily Show he's most concerned with the president not accepting election results.
It's my greatest concern. My single greatest concern. This president's going to try to steal this election. This is the guy who said that all mail-in ballots are fraudulent.
Fox's Peter Ducey.
That line is a throwback to something Hillary Clinton ran with last cycle when Trump would not commit to accepting the results of the election in a debate, and she called him preemptively a sore loser.
The White House accusing the presumptive Democratic nominee of pushing Democrat conspiracy theories. America is listening to Fox News.
With uncertainty in these times, here's something that is certain. Now save money on your wireless bill with great customer service when you switch to Pure Talk USA. Now plans start at $20 a month depending on how much data you need. All plans have unlimited talk and text. And Pure Talk covers 99% of Americans. They're confident that you're going to love their service. They have a 1-month risk-free guarantee, 50% off your first month. Just dial pound 250 on your cell. Say the keyword save now. Pound 250, keyword save now.
I hate Tom's Tulip Shop. It just smells so flowery. Like we're good at your flower shop. You don't need to remind us.
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
I needed a fake plant. They don't sell fake plants. Thanks for nothing, Tom.
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
Then he says, have a great day. I'll decide what kind of day to have.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
The U.S. military's top officer apologizes for walking with the president to a photo op at St. John's Church near the White House.
In his first public remarks since the incident, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says it was a mistake to walk through Lafayette Square with President Trump.
As many of you saw the result of the photograph of me at Lafayette Square last week, that sparked a national debate about the role of the military in civil society. I should not have been there. My presence in that moment and in that environment created a perception of the military involved in domestic politics.
In his virtual commencement address to military students at National Defense University, General Mark Milley also touched on race relations in the United States. Quote, "We are still struggling with racism, and we have much work to do."
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at the Pentagon. Milley did not address the renaming of Army bases named after Confederate generals. The Army Secretary has said he would consider it. President Trump says he will not. Europe pointing a finger at China as it warns of fake news on coronavirus.
The European Union accusing China and Russia of running disinformation campaigns around the coronavirus.
We have witnessed a wave of false and misleading information.
The EU's Foreign Affairs Commissioner Josep Borrell saying false healthcare information, like playing down the importance of people washing their hands, risks lives.
Disinformation in times of the coronavirus can kill.
The EU predicting vaccination will be the next big topic to be targeted. In London, Simon Owen, Fox News.
Worldwide, the number of confirmed cases now tops 7.4 million, including over 2 million in the U.S. Brazil still has the second highest number of cases after its recent surge. The virus has killed over 113,000 people in the U.S., more than 400,000 worldwide. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
Live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia. Come in and try our great tasting smoothies, protein shakes, acai, and wheatgrass for your healthy lifestyle on the go. Also, enjoy our 10 flavors of tantalizing zinc frozen yogurt and selection of healthy toppings. Juice It Up Valencia is located at the corner of Newhall Ranch Road and Copper Hill Drive in the Office Depot Plaza. Open Open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. and Sundays from 8 until 8. And remember to live life juiced up at Juice It Up Valencia.
Dutton Plumbing, it's Eric.
It's Mother. Can you come over right away? It's urgent.
I'll be right there, Mom. Okay, I'm here. What's wrong?
It's been weeks since you had a haircut, so I want to give you a nice trim. Sit down.
Ooh, ow.
Gee, I can see myself in the back of your head, son.
Mom.
Oops.
What happened?
Never mind. It'll grow back. So, what's new at Dutton Plumbing, son?
Well, with so many people stuck at home, there's a lot of stuff getting stuck in their pipes. So, our $73 drain clearing is really keeping us busy.
Wait a minute. I bet the plumber's hair is getting shaggy, too. You tell them that Mom will cut their hair for just $73.
Isn't that a little high for a haircut, Mom?
Well, I'll toss in the manscaping for free.
Mom!
DuttonPlumbing.com. Mom's $73 drain clearing at DuttonPlumbing.com. Manscaping not included.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank. And I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCVi Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCVi may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
Hometown.
They're amazing, and every single one of their songs is amazing, except for like one.
Your hometown station. Beep, 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 beep. Go!
Good morning. My name is Shane Cutchell, providing you with traffic updates through the 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. hours, keeping the morning show with Tori and Kyle going, except there's no Tori and Kyle. It's just me. I hope that's okay, but I'm going to keep giving you quality information. That's what we do here at KHTS. Taking a look at the freeways right now. 5 northbound, 5 southbound are looking great. Just a little bit of touch and go. Slight slowdown as you start to make your way towards the 405 and the 170 freeways. If you're coming back to Santa Clarita, of course, the 5 and 14 split is going to be a little bit tight, but nothing too bad yet, so don't worry. It's a great green open drive all the way to the Palmdale and Bakersfield area, so if you got to get somewhere, I'd get going right now. Now let's take a look at weather.
Traffic brought to you by Frontier Toyota. Frontier Toyota reminds you to drive safely. Shop from home at frontiertoyota.com or visit their showroom on Valencia and Creekside. See their all-new, hot and exciting 2020 Toyota Camry. Frontier Toyota, the Camry Kings.
Looking at temperatures around the valley, we are certainly heating up. Currently 82 degrees in Newhall, 81 degrees in Valencia, and 83 degrees in Canyon Country. Highs today are going to be right at 95, and the lows across the valley in the low 60s, floating right around 61 degrees. Now let's get back to the Eye on the Valley show with Matt Watson.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 on the AM side. This is Matt Watson, your host. You are listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. Now, before we get back into things, I wanted to give it another special shout out. We started this morning by congratulating the Learning Post graduates. Well, We have now moved on to Academy of the Canyons. AOC is lining up right now, getting ready to graduate out there at Central Park. So we just wanted to say congratulations, AOC graduates. Congratulations, and we really are, from the bottom of our hearts, we're sorry. It's not fair that graduation has to go this way this year, and you don't get to come back and do it again next year. This is just what your graduation is going to be. Like I said, it's not fair, but it is what it is. You are graduating, and that is a huge accomplishment, and we congratulate you. Good job. Now, AOC graduates, it's incumbent upon you. Go make this world a better place. Do what you do. Bless you guys. Congratulations. Now, we've been talking all morning about those guidelines that State Superintendent Tony Thurmond and the State Department of Health issued back on Monday. Producer Sarah and I are going to be talking about those in our next break, but we wanted to get to something that's, well, gosh, almost as important as our kids going back to school. You know, if you listen to our show regularly, you know that we're sports fans here at Eye on the Valley, and even if you're not, you know how important sports are to American society and culture. That, you know, they've always been an important part of helping us maintain our semblance of normalcy and continuity, especially in times of crisis, during times of war, other tragedy. You know, baseball's role in doing this has been well documented in history books and in movies, popular culture during World War I, World War II. Baseball and football played a huge role after 9/11, encouraging Americans that yeah, we suffered a huge tragedy, but we will carry on. And you know, the Olympics have always played a large role in their regular functioning of the world. Yes, they've been canceled, and we've had some interesting issues when pandemics and war and strife have come up, but the Olympics have been there to kind of say, hey, this is a peacekeeping thing. This is what we do. We come together every 4 years. But on March 11th of this year, just before his team was scheduled to tip off in Oklahoma City, Utah Jazz star Rudy Gobert tested positive for COVID-19. And within minutes, the NBA began canceling the rest of the league's games that evening and would go on to cancel or, as it turns out, suspend their season. In the ensuing days, college basketball, professional hockey, tennis, golf, and all other professional and college sports were either canceled, suspended, or postponed. And now they're all trying to get back, you know, for us. It's about us, the American people. It's not about the owners and the athletes trying to get theirs, or, well, maybe it is, you know, with literally billions of dollars on the line out there and television contracts and professional sports contracts. There's money to be made, but absolutely it's an important part of our culture. So let's take a look at where we are. I'm going to invite engineer Shane to join me this morning as we just kind of go over where we're at with the different sports. You good with that, Shane?
Oh, I'm more than good with that. And before you do, to emphasize how important sports are in the United States, we've had 55 Super Bowls and 45 presidents. We had a Super Bowl 10 times before we had our first president. So sports have always been a very prevalent... No, I know, I'm kidding.
I'm trying to do the math. So we played the Super Bowl for 10 years before Washington was elected.
I know. I'm just messing with you. It's a fun one. I couldn't help it.
That is a fun fact.
I couldn't help it. Continue on.
That is great. But yeah, you know, baseball has been played uninterrupted for, 120 years? Well, uninterrupted except for when they're arguing over money. But we'll get to that in just a minute. You know, I was looking up the different, because, you know, I've been jonesing, and I kind of got used to the fact, okay, we can't have sports right now, you know, just like we can't get our nails did right now and things like that. But I decided, you know, I wanted to talk about it today, and I wanted to look it up. We've got one coming back online today, Shane. Today, golf starts.
That's right. I was just about to say, I'm pretty sure it's golf, right?
Right. Yep. The PGA Tour is starting. You know, as sacrificial lambs. Who was it? Tiger Woods and
Phil Mickelson,
and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady went out there and they showed that golf can be played safely. And it's interesting. One of the things that I think professional golf learned from that foursome going out and having fun and playing some golf in the driving rain with with Tom Brady splitting his pants mid-round there, is they learned how entertaining it can be to actually put microphones on the golfers.
Yeah, it's huge.
Which is going to be important because they're going to have limited access with broadcast staff. So, you're not going to have the two guys sitting next to each other in the booth. And so the players themselves are actually going to provide a tremendous amount of commentary. I'm looking forward to it.
That player access is huge. We just saw how popular that is with the XFL. Very short-lived, but those sideline interviews, being able to get up close, especially hearing what the coaches are saying, we realized, didn't realize, but I think maybe the broadcasters started to realize, fans love that stuff. We want to know what they're talking about, because when we go try to emulate it or do it ourselves, we're trying to think, okay, what did he say? What did he call? How did he think? And when you get that special access, it makes you feel significantly more connected to the athletes and the sport itself. Which is what we want. Now guys like yourself that are working the soundboard are going to need to keep their fingers on the buzzer. Yeah, there's a tape delay. Right, there we go. You've got that 10-second delay. That's what it's for. So golf starts today. I've never been I enjoy playing golf, but I've never been a huge golf spectator. But I'm looking forward to watching. I think it's going to be interesting with the players mic'd up, and it's sports. Come on, we're sportsing it up. I'll take it. Besides, you're swinging something. There's a ball, there's a club, maybe a stick if you want to simplify it a little bit. There's some parallels there. There we go. Ball and stick. Let's get it out there. I'm ready for it. One of the sports that actually quietly got back online already, golf actually isn't the first sport to get back up there. Horse racing has been out there already, and I know, especially here locally, horse racing has gotten kind of a black eye, but horse racing has been back up, and one of those major races that folks look forward to every year is actually coming back online. The Belmont Stakes is being run on June 20th, so here in about another 9 days. Normally the Belmont is the last of the Triple Crown races, but this year it's going to be the first. Kentucky Derby and the Preakness have already been postponed. We're going to run the Kentucky Derby, so get your hat dusted off on September 5th, Preakness on October 3rd, so we will have the potential Triple Crown winner this year, as we have every year. So that's good to know. One of the things, Shane, that's been in the news quite a bit is basketball. It's the first of the three majors that is going to be coming back. They're coming back, set to tip off July 31st. So I think in about another month or so, players are going to start reporting. They're actually going to be experimenting with what a lot of sports have talked about, playing in the bubble. Yep, that's right. Essentially making a theme park out of their sport, essentially. Exactly. While folks can't go to the Disneyland parks, we're going to send our pro basketball players and some of their families, actually, out to Orlando. They're going to take over all the hotels out there, and there's some really interesting ideas as to how basketball is going to get back together. There's actually a few teams that aren't going to go. We're so deep into the basketball season that the NBA is saying, look, sorry, Golden State Warriors, you're out. Just enjoy your vacation. They reformatted it down to 22 teams instead of the usual 30, so that way, accounting for, like you said, those teams that are mathematically eliminated, maybe not technically, but we know they're not going to make it. So readjusting for that and giving those teams that were in the playoff hunt or showing a lot of promise making a playoff run, those teams were invited to the tournament, hence why it is 22, not necessarily arbitrarily chosen, but chosen for a optimal amount of competition and giving those teams that were in the hunt a fair chance to remain in the hunt, which I think is very cool. It's going to be tough maybe for teams to win 8 straight to get into the playoffs, but hey, mathematically possible. You say 8 straight. It's interesting the way the NBA, they did a great job really researching this, looking into what it's going to take. They knew it was going to be difficult to take the previous records and say, okay, let's just take what we have, call that the regular season, let's just jump straight into the playoffs. They know that guys are going to need to get used to regular competition. So they said, okay, every team, those 20 teams, 22 teams, are going to play 8 games. Yep. Everybody's going to play 8 games, and then we'll still add those results on to the end of the year records. We'll sort out our 16 teams for the playoffs, and then we'll move into the playoffs. So yeah, they're going to be playing in that Orlando bubble, and so that's going to be really interesting. It will be. And one thing I'm curious to find out is which of these sports, so you mentioned horse racing, we've got golf, NHL is set to come back. They have a schedule set in place. We have the NBA coming back. The NFL is not for a little bit, so they've got time to prepare as well. I'm curious to see which sport, if any, will make significant viewership gains. We're going to see, we've been criticizing baseball for not getting back soon enough. You and I, off the air, have been talking about how if they had just gotten out sooner, maybe they could grasp a whole new audience, a whole new level of exposure, because sports are really diversifying in the United States. We have a lot of a lot of mouths to feed and a lot of people in the market trying to get new viewers, especially with segmented content. You've got all the Netflixes. Disney's buying as much as they can. So each of these sports are vying for eyeballs. And I'm curious to see if there's going to be a significant increase in viewership for the sports that get back first, such as horseback racing. We want baseball back so badly because we believe it would be a popularity bump. But I'm curious what your opinions are. Do you think the first sport back is going to get a significant viewership bump just because we're missing it that much?
Absolutely. Like I said, I'm not a big golf guy, but I'm looking forward to.
I'm going to turn it on.
To having the guys on while I'm working this afternoon and in the background this weekend. So definitely, and people talked about which is going to be the first sport to get back because they're really going to be able to take advantage not only of the viewership those first few days, first few weeks, but then of course you captivate audiences and you get people interested in the stories and people making runs and things like that, and so then you keep them even when other sports come back online. I hadn't heard anything about the NHL. I went looking last night. Do you know, people were thinking that hockey was going to really benefit because they were going to be the first ones to come back. Have you heard what's going on with hockey?
Let me double check. I'll verify that story. That way I get the most recent information. But I'm pretty sure they had a schedule in place, but nothing beyond that.
Yeah. Now the NFL, football, it's really interesting. They have stuck to their guns and said, this is not going to affect our regular season. The NFL is going to be shorting the preseason, which I know the players like. So they're going to go from 4 preseason games down to 2. But they said that they're going to start on time, September 10th, and still play a full season, which gosh, the NFL has really just played their cards right the last couple of decades and become the #1 sport in America. I mentioned earlier the Summer Olympics. You all know that the Summer Olympics were scheduled to take off on July 24th in Tokyo, and that was the previous schedule, but they've been postponed a full year. So everybody's pretty certain that after a year we're going to be able to get our Olympians back into an Olympic village in Tokyo, and they're going to get started on July 23rd of 2021. Now, college sports are a little bit different because it's tough to differentiate and say, okay, we're gonna do this for the college football players, but we're not gonna do it for the college mathematicians or the college history majors. And so there's this push to treat all student athletes the same as we treat all students. And with schools, my son's college campus was shut down for this fall semester. I don't know that San Francisco State has a football team. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Let me find out for you.
But no, that's okay. That's okay. But other schools that do have major football programs are looking at this as an issue. But college football, they do seem to be sticking to it as well. They are saying that they're set to begin in September. They've set out guidelines by which they think they can play. The NCAA is going to meet next week. I think it's on the 17th to lay things out and have a vote. But it does sound like all indicators are good. Football is such a huge revenue source. It means moneymaker for colleges. They really do supplement a lot of programs with the money from ticket sales and from different contracts, whether it's with the sporting goods stores or with television. So they make a lot of money that way.
Those ticket sales are huge. If you take a look at some of the largest stadiums or just venues in the entire United States, in that top 10, top 15, you're going to have at least half of them be college football stadiums. These teams seat over 100,000 people on a regular basis, and that type of ticket revenue per game is huge. That's more than a lot of professional football stadiums out there. So that's a massive amount of money that they're not going to be able to get.
A couple of years ago, I was able to attend the Michigan-Wisconsin football game at the Big House there in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, nice.
And, I've never done anything in my life with another 111,000 people. It is crazy. It's interesting. The University of Georgia, we're talking about playing all these sports with no fans in the stands, right? Now, University of Georgia said, no. We're going to physically distance people. We are going to we're going to allow 50% capacity at our stadium. And I did hear a commentator say, or that was the University of Arkansas, said they're going to allow 50% capacity at their stadium. I heard one commentator say, really? So you expect selling more tickets this year than ever before, huh? So, did you find anything out about hockey?
On hockey, nothing too updated. The most recent articles came from March. I actually checked our. Don't shake your head at me. Don't be disappointed.
I'm shaking my head at the NHL. They had such a huge opportunity, and it seems like they're quietly blowing it.
I'm just putting you on the spot. It's okay. But taking a look at our Facebook Live comments, Janine Peck actually mentioned that it's not just about pro sports, too. High school sports, the sports that we have in the Valley, youth sports for the kids. It's such a normalizing thing. When summer comes around, when a certain season comes around, if you're a kid or the parent, you expect to have that sport. If it's something that you do every year, something that you love, it's really something that provides a schedule, a routine in our lives, and we miss that.
I got to tell you, one of the things that I looked forward to for about 5 years was freshman year in high school when I could strap on the shoulder pads and play football. And if kids coming into 9th grade this year aren't able to play football, it's going to be devastating for some of them. And then we talk about kids that are seniors looking forward to having their senior year. Again, just like this last school year that we're wrapping up now, if kids aren't able to play, it's going to be devastating. And kids that are used to going out every Saturday playing soccer, it's really rough. It really, really is. So it's more than just putting some microphones on a couple of golfers and getting them out there. But again, we got to keep people safe. One of the sports that we haven't mentioned, we mentioned it in passing, baseball. Baseball has been an interesting animal. They had the opportunity, and when we closed down, everybody said, basketball. You can't have guys bumping up against each other, sweating, bleeding on each other. That's just not safe. Football, obviously, we can't play right now. But baseball, you can play a decent game of baseball without anybody really touching each other, coming that close to each other. As long as we get the umpire out of there, we have a robot call balls and strikes. Baseball can come back almost immediately, yet we're looking at the possibility of no baseball season at all, huh?
That's right. No possibility for no season at all. We mentioned it off the air, but there's the potential for a lockdown due to the collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, in 2021. So very uncertain times for baseball and baseball fans too, because it's a naive feeling that I have in me, but I like to believe that the players play for the love of the game. Like, I know that we're making money, we have families to feed, and we have to take care of some things pretty important in life, but that's a sport that at some point we grew up loving to play, and it's disheartening to see that we don't have the players back out there. That's my selfish view on it. I want those players back out there, but I know there's a lot more that goes into it. So
I mentioned it on the air a few weeks ago that it does seem like a health issue. The players are the ones taking all the risk out there, and the owners want them to absorb 50% of the financial hit that they're going to take. The last few days, it hasn't seemed so altruistic. It hasn't really seemed too much about the health risk. When the players jumped out there and said, you know what, we'll play an extra 20 games if you give us 75% of our salary rather than 50. And that's when people went, wait a minute, you're willing to play more games as long as it's for more money? So this isn't about the health, is it? It is, again, as the case has been for the last 25, 30 years in baseball. It's the millionaires against the billionaires, and they're arguing over money again. So hopefully we can get them back online. The commissioner promised yesterday. He issued a Joe Namath-style guarantee. I guarantee we're going to have baseball this year. So whether it's going to be 80 games or 72 games or 50 games, Rob Manfred has said there will be baseball this year. Now, what's going to happen if baseball is playing at the same time that basketball is in their bubble playoffs and football is in full gear and nobody's paying attention much anymore? I don't know.
Or worst case scenario, what happens if there's no season? Rob Manfred's resume is not pretty in his short tenure as the commissioner. So there's a lot of people unhappy with his dedication and actual passion, his own passion for the sport to begin with. So after this guarantee, if there's still nothing and the entire season fizzles out due to an inability to reach a contract negotiation over money, I know the players are they have fault in this failed negotiation as well, but at the same time, it doesn't look good for Rob. And you've mentioned it before that Rob does have the ace in the deck, the ace up his sleeve, the one that he can just sort of say, hey, we're playing a season.
He's got that executive power. He can tell the owners and players what to do.
50 games, 60 games, 70 games, it doesn't matter. This is what I say, this is what I do, but hopefully it doesn't get to that point, because I don't think that'll be a very good move for him either.
The fact that Jose Altuve from the Astros is still wearing a World Series ring from 2017 means that Rob Manfred is the worst commissioner in my book.
Just a hunk of metal, Matt. Just a hunk of metal.
Oh, no. It is a chunk of my heart that they stole from me. Alrighty, so this has been your sports update. Golf is online today. They're out there playing right now. So we are getting back to normal. We're getting our sports back. Hopefully we can get our kids back out on the pitch, out on the field, out on the court here real soon. I know that that's a huge part of our children's education. It really is. It is so important. So a big part of getting kids back out on the court, on the field, on the pitch is going to be getting them back to school. And producer Sarah and I are going to be talking about that next. The next couple of breaks, we'll talk about how they can get back to school when we come back. You are listening to SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Hi, this is Wendy Hassenflug, yoga and wellness entrepreneur. I'm excited to share one of the best kept secrets in Santa Clarita. Top Out Climbing Gym is one of my favorite places. Rock climbing is exceptional for building upper and lower body strength, and it improves your flexibility. Almost anyone can rock climb, and you don't have to be super fit to climb. You'll build strength and stamina while having fun at the same time. Get over to Top Out Climbing Gym in Center Point and challenge yourself to new heights.
The coronavirus has put us in a position of creating a new normal. Family Law at Home understands. Their goal is to meet you in the safest place possible. And these days, that might be in your own home in a virtual meeting. Family Law at Home will provide you with immediate advice on your family law matters, such as divorce cases, child custody disputes, and domestic violence. It's as easy as going to FamilyLawAtHome.com. You'll choose your own consultation date and be in immediate contact with one of their esteemed attorneys. Family Law at Home handles the legal aspect while you and your family navigate the new chapter in your lives. Go to FamilyLawAtHome.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Goldhurst, Head of Operations for Burger King North America. Throughout this time, we've taken steps to take care of our guests.
And since we know many of your jobs have been affected by this crisis,
we want to help make sure you're taken care of too. If you are looking for work, we are hiring.
And there's a spot on our team for you.
We know that we'll get through this together, as long as we keep taking care of each other.
For more information, call 253-3283. That's 253-3283.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers, and I am your host, Matt Watson. Our show is brought to you by SCVi and iLEAD Charter Schools. Yes, we are a school organization. We are all about education. So if you've stuck through Shane and my ramblings about sports, they are important, and we love our sports. We love our kids. We got to get our kids back to school as well. We're joined now by producer Sarah. I want to chat with her a little bit about those guidelines that the state superintendent and the California Department of Public Health issued on Monday for schools reopening. Good morning, Sarah. How are you?
Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Shane. How are you guys?
Good. It's always wonderful when you can join us on the air. I do appreciate all the help and support you give behind the scenes, but it's always good to talk to you as well. So I wanted to get your take a little bit, Sarah, because I know you've got school kids, and as of last Friday, I don't. I've got one in college, and that's very similar, but not as closely affected by the guidelines as your kids are. And I also know that you've got some unique insight due to your role that you play here at our schools at SCVi and iLEAD. Renee went through a lot of these guidelines yesterday. She went through them really quickly. I thought it was funny, peculiar, not funny, ha-ha, that one of our listeners actually mentioned, why does she seem so excited about this? And
right.
Renee said, well, first of all, I'm a teacher who's been waiting for 3 months to find out what school's going to look like next year, and we finally got the floodgates open. And, you know, as teachers, we miss our kids. And I know as parents, you miss sending them off to us.
So much. You know, I watched SCVi's virtual graduation, and I think I cried through the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, and not my own children were graduating. You know, I call all 960 of them my kids, but just to realize, like, oh my gosh, they're leaving.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to say goodbye.
Right.
I'm not there giving them a hug when they come off the stage. Like, it was very challenging, and I think it's hard for a lot of educators. They want to know, okay, can we at least start talking about this? Where are we going with this? When are the guidelines going to come out? And so I can completely understand why she's excited about what's going to happen. Well, at least we can start planning for it now, even though I'm sure decisions haven't been made yet, but we can start planning. So.
And she had 55 pages of this document to get through in 42 minutes, so she did have to move along pretty quickly. And Sarah, you've met Renee. She's a very upbeat and positive kind of person, and she is just always happy. So let's talk about some of these guidelines. Now, one of the things that I thought was very forward-thinking of our state superintendent, Tony Thurmond, was that he did very clearly indicate both in his public address as well as in the document itself that these are guidelines, that he's not issuing mandates. He's telling schools, look, we recognize that every one of you does things differently, and you need to do things differently for your students, for your parents, for your community. And so here's what we're suggesting, and we're going to provide you some support, but you're going to do what you need to do for your families, which I thought was terrific. That having been said, he's recommending that classrooms be laid out in a way that students can stay, but will stay 6 feet away from each other. Mm-hmm. Now, when I think about our classrooms, I think about kids conducting Socratic seminars where they're sitting in circles. I think about kindergartners sitting on the rug together, and that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is when they're crawling and oozing on each other and things like that. So this is going to be tough.
5-year-olds tend to do that. You're right.
Right.
And I think one of the suggestions in the guidelines on how to meet these needs is to have, staggered schedules or alternate days, sort of a hybrid model, so that you have fewer kids in the classroom.
Right, and we're going to talk in a second about what that's going to look like. So yeah, we'll have fewer kids in a classroom, and when you can't have fewer kids in the classroom, Renee talked about the possibility of using larger spaces like your cafeterias, your libraries, your MPRs, things like that. But it's going to be tough because one of those, we talk about 21st century learning skills, one of them is collaboration. And so it's important for kids to put their heads together, if you will. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be tough to do from 6 feet apart. But it's certainly possible, especially thinking that, we're going to have half as many kids in class. I've seen some of our smaller classes that get into some pretty deep discussion without kids getting too physically close.
Well, and I'll tell you, I have older kids, so I have one going into 8th grade and one who's going to be a junior next year. And they've been doing the distance learning, mm-hmm. They've been on Zoom quite a bit the last few months with their classes. And both of them actually participated in collaborative projects.
Oh, great.
Via the internet, via Zoom meetings, via, shared docs, things that they put together. So they were completely different projects, but they did do that. So it's going to be a little creative. Maybe not sitting at the same, 4-foot round table together, but I think the schools can figure it out, how to keep that collaboration going. It's just going to look different than what we're used to, that's all.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we could go back in time a little bit, wouldn't you go back to February and invest in Zoom?
Holy cow, you are not kidding.
Their stock is up over 150%.
Holy cow. Every dime I had.
Yep.
Then I'd have 3 dimes. No, kidding.
There you go. Now, we talked with Dr. Lawrence at the beginning of the show. One of the things that the state superintendent is recommending, and this one sounds like a strong recommendation, that all school staff should be wearing a cloth face covering all day, and that students wear masks as well during those critical times, when they're coming on campus, when they're leaving campus, when they're out on the yard, when they're in the cafeteria, when they're passing from one class to another, if that's necessary. And then they said if they're able to stay 6 feet apart, they can probably take the masks off in class if that's cool with your school. But the kids should be wearing masks most of the day. adults should be wearing masks all day. I was glad to hear from Dr. Lawrence. He kind of put that baby to bed, that it's not an unhealthy thing to wear a mask all day long. It's actually a kindness thing.
It really is. I agree with that 100%. And I also agree. It's uncomfortable. Like I've been out a few times. I went to the market and went to Costco or whatever, and of course wore my face covering, and I was pretty grateful to get in the car after wearing it for 40. Costco took forever, so I was probably wearing it for almost an hour to get in the car and take it off. It was a relief.
Oh, sure.
I will tell you. Yeah, they are, and I can understand. Some people would have concerns over that. I think this is actually, looking at some of the guidelines, and I really think the one that might be the most challenging for our parents, when I say our parents, not just SCVi and iLEAD, but all parents, is this face covering requirement. Depending on what your school does, I don't think there's a way to make everybody happy here.
Oh, absolutely not.
There just isn't.
Yeah. Parents have different, unique concerns, and kids are different, right?
Yeah.
If I've got a kid that's got some pretty significant asthma, Sarah, I need your kid wearing his mask, right?
Exactly.
And if that's not so much of a concern for me, but my child maybe has some emotional issues that mean the mask is going to really be a difficult thing for him, I need him to keep his mask off, right? So that's going to be a difficult one to tackle. So for that reason, I think it's going to be important for schools to offer multiple options so that families can get what they need.
Right, because on the one hand, obviously there are going to be kids who just. What's the point of going to school if you're going to make my kid put a mask on all day? Emotionally, they can't handle that. That's going to be too distracting. They might not as well go. And I empathize with that completely. On the other hand, there are going to be parents that are like, if every kid in that classroom isn't wearing a mask, I don't want my kid there.
Right. And for that reason, schools are going to have to provide these options. I will say that a mask is something that you can get used to. It was funny. I was talking to our friend Cheryl Senna, who has been at home for the last 3 months, and then she officiated the diploma pickup at SCVi last Friday, and she was remarking how difficult it was to A, have her mask on for that 45-minute period of time, and then B, she says, Matt, you can't talk into a microphone with a mask on. And I said,
you do it.
I said, Cheryl. Right? So you do get used to it. It isn't so bad. That having been said, as soon as I hop in my car leaving here to the studio, yes, I enjoy taking the mask off. Feel like a wild man, you know what I mean? But let's talk about really quickly the different models that the state is proposing.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting because I read it as well and I was confused by it. I was looking forward to Renee clarifying, and I don't know that she clarified too much. We're going to have her back on next week, so we'll ask her about it. The state proposed 4 different learning models. First, a blended model where kids attend school 2 days a week and are remote 3 days a week, meaning maybe your kid would attend school Monday, Tuesday, and then be not off of school, but participating in distance learning Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Or maybe they would do a Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday model, or I've heard, Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, with Wednesday, the deep cleaning day, that kind of thing. But basically, your kid on campus 2 days, working off campus 3 days. So that's a possibility. I know some families, though, are saying, well, I have to work Monday through Friday, so my kids need to be at school. Second option, I don't know, is going to be much better, where there's an A-B week that's a blended learning where Sarah, your kids go to school this week, my kids go to school next week.
Right.
And this week my kids are doing distance, next week your kids are going to be doing distance. It keeps the numbers in class cut in half, but again, if you work full-time Monday through Friday, that's a challenge. The state has talked about early start, late start, so that everybody goes to school every day, but your kids would go to school in the morning, and my kids would go to school in the afternoon. Now, still, again, I work all day, every day. that can pose an issue. That's also going to require schools to invest in custodial staff, right? Because that gives them the middle of the day to get those classrooms cleaned up and ready to go for the afternoon session.
Yeah.
And then the fourth model I didn't understand. Let's ask Renee next week, but she talked about looping, and that's a great pedagogical model where the kids have the same teacher, have the same classmates from one year to the next. But I don't see how that is going to work if you've still got 30 kids in the class at the same time.
Well, and I think my understanding of it, and granted, I haven't dissected this document as much as Renee, so we're going to ask her. But my understanding of it is that would be something that sort of is used in concert with one of the other models, so that, and you know this because we did that. We do looping with our kids at SCVi, and we're doing it at iLEAD Agua Dulce. You know, when my daughter had Miss Munn 2 years in a row, it was fantastic for her to have Miss Munn both in second grade and third grade. First day of third grade, Miss Munn knew my kid.
Yeah.
She knew exactly how she liked to learn. She knew how she could connect with her, and the learning just would take off because they didn't have to spend those months trying to figure each other out, right? My daughter implicitly trusted Miss Munn because she had her for a whole year already. And so, you know, my feeling was that, you know, when the kids, if the schools go for this, you know, AB every other week thing where you spend a week with your kids and then a week they're home online, or the alternate days, it sort of accelerates the amount of learning the next year, because how much harder is it going to be to connect with your students, your learners, if you're only seeing them 2 days a week, or you're only seeing them half days, or you know, what is it? So that's a way to sort of give our kids a bit of an edge that they will have somebody that understands their learning style and can really enhance their learning the following grade.
Right, but under the state guidelines, I don't see how we can keep kids as safe, as healthy as those other three models. And so the way I see it, although it's not in the state document, the fourth model is continuing with the distance learning that we've all been doing these last couple of months. We do need to take a quick break, but let's talk about that possibility of distance learning. And I do recognize that all of the models that we've talked about so far, there are some parents out there that say, yeah, Matt, none of those work for me. So we're going to talk on the other side about what do you do then. We're going to, again, take a quick commercial break. You are listening to SCVi Charter Schools Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson. This is producer Sarah with me on your hometown station, KHTS.
Green Thumb International, your lawn and garden professionals, have the widest variety of shrubs, flowering plants, and garden supplies in the Santa Clarita Valley. Condition and fertilize your soil. Water does not easily penetrate clay soils and may pass too quickly beyond the root zone of plants in sandy soil. Adding organic matter to these soils will help correct imbalances and reduce water waste. On Newhall Avenue in Old Town Newhall near Sierra Highway. Green Thumb puts the green in your thumb.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Finding the right auto body shop can feel like a never-ending search.
It's more than a job, it's a hobby.
Caesar, owner of Body Shop 661, your one-stop body shop.
Out here in Santa Clarita, I like seeing my cars driving around. It's really a passion.
More than just repairs. Body Shop 661. Trusted, reliable, respected for over 16 years in the Santa Clarita Valley. Visit bodyshop661.com or give them a call, 661-251-2252.
Great healthcare just got easier and more convenient in Canyon Country. Facey Canyon Country is now open directly off the Soledad Canyon exit off the 14 freeway. The 37,000 square foot clinic houses Facey Medical Group primary care physicians, pediatricians, and specialists. Facey has easy 24/7 online appointment scheduling for PCPs and PEDS. For more information or to make an appointment, visit facey.com. That's FACEY.com. Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm joined by my favorite producer Sarah this morning, and we're talking about what school's going to look like next year. You know, Sarah, I mentioned before the break those different options that the state has suggested for schools to adopt. And, you know, all of them include some sort of blended model where kids are kind of on campus part-time. They're going to school full-time, but they're on campus part-time. And then that other unmentioned option, I think the state is going to have to allow schools to do distance learning. You know, I'm hearing rumblings, especially in the larger districts. I don't think it's going to be as much of an issue here locally in Santa Clarita, but there are some of those larger districts out there that simply don't have the money to hire the teaching staff, the custodial staff, to provide the number of computers that they're going to need to provide and do all the things that they have to do to welcome kids back on campus, even part-time. So I think distance learning is going to have to be an option, whether it's because of logistics, or, you know, we mentioned families that, like you said, they're just not comfortable sending their kids back, and I certainly understand and respect that. If your child is immunocompromised, or maybe they're not, they're perfectly healthy, but
like their grandparents live in the house too,
boom,
or you know,
yeah,
right?
yeah, or maybe you've just got concerns about, are we doing this the right way, and you're not willing to put your child at any risk. I certainly understand that. So schools are going to have to offer options, and distance learning is going to be one of them. I know we've got a couple of schools that have been doing distance learning technically for quite a long time. iLEAD Online and iLEAD Exploration. iLEAD Online is a fully accredited online program, and in fact, we're moving to open up. It's been authorized kindergarten through 12th grade. We started out with high school. It's a lot easier to do full online learning with high schoolers, but this year we included as young as 3rd grade, and you know, we got raving reviews with the 3rd and 4th grade programs that we've rolled out. So we're looking to open up kinder, 1st, and 2nd this year. And then, Sarah, what can you tell us about our exploration program? What's that all about?
Well, so exploration is what iLEAD calls it's our home study program for, you know, like, you know, distance learning. I won't say that it's like the distance learning that we're doing now, because iLEAD Exploration actually traditionally for the last, 11 years now that we've had a home study program, is much more interactive, offers classes, opportunities for kids to participate hands-on. So it's not exactly like we're doing distance learning right now, but it's certainly something where parents can feel more comfortable if they don't feel ready for their kid to go back to a seat-based environment. There's a lot of support. What will happen is if your kiddo, you know, say they're in 3rd grade, and maybe if you have a sibling in 7th grade, you'll be assigned what's called an EF, or an educational facilitator.
Yep.
I think they cap it at 20 learners per EF right now.
So they don't get overwhelmed? Yep.
Right. And so this person's job is to support you, to help you find what's the best fit for your child. What I really like about iLEAD Exploration is you don't sign up and we don't say, okay, well, this is how you should do your 3rd grade math at home. Mm-hmm. Here's the curriculum book we recommend you use. We'll talk to you and find out, like, how does your child learn? Where are they in math? We'll do our assessments. And are they more kinesthetic, or are they more visual? And they'll try to help your family find what's a great fit for you in the recommended curriculums. It's amazing what you can do. And you can have them be as hands-on as you want. When I say hands-on, sorry, that's probably not the best analogy to use right now during COVID, but if you want them to be more as actively, your educational facilitator to be super actively involved in your child's learning, they're there for you. You can call them all the time and get enough support. Or if you're just like, nah, I don't want you, calling me all the time, I'm just going to do it myself. Well, then you just have a meeting with them once every 20 educational days, about once a month.
Yep.
And those are important, those meetings, because you go and your EF kind of goes through and double checks, looks at work samples, make sure you're on track, maybe sends in a little correction for mom, like, hey, I noticed you only spent like 3 or 4 hours on math, and you spent a ton of time on history. Here, let me help you out with a way to get some more math into your home curriculum.
They're there with the level of support that you need. If you're interested in those programs, you can really easy, iLEADonline.org. iLEADexploration.org. And in fact, iLEAD Online is offering Track C, which starts up July 1st. So if you want to test drive us for a little bit, you can do that this summer. I do want to leave parents with some advice as we go into this. First of all, be proactive and vocal. Tell your school district, tell your school what you need. Do that now. Don't wait until the beginning of the school year. Talk with your school well before classes begin to make sure that you're getting what you expect. Don't wait until the first day of school to show up and realize that this isn't what they told me it was going to be. And if you need to, change schools. Find the school that fits your needs. Look around, call around, and it's like you're buying a new car, right? You're going to go out there and test drive a couple of things. So if you need to, you've got...
Absolutely. This is a time to switch because nothing's going to look like you thought it was.
Absolutely.
A year ago. There's nothing that's going to look like you thought it was a year ago. And if you are afraid to try something different, if you're afraid to try an alternate like SCVi because you thought it might be too different than your neighborhood school, well, guess what? Your neighborhood school is going to look so different right now. And if you've been curious and wanted to try SCVi, come on by. I'll go ahead and I'll post the links in the comment for SCVi and Agua Dulce, our site-based programs here in Santa Clarita. And
Please
then
go
I'll
ahead and post those now. We do have to wrap up, Sarah.
Sorry.
I want to remind our parents, we don't know what we're getting into, so we need to be flexible, patient, and be politically active. I'm worried about our education budget next year. We do have to get going, but join us again tomorrow. We will continue to get caught up on these issues and many, many more. You are listening to Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers on your hometown station, KHTS.